everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to work on the little hot rod. This is a 1999 EZGO TXT. It's a PDS cart. I bought it, and I'll put a picture in here of it when I first bought the cart. It was just a non-running, really a pile of junk. And I stripped it completely down and redid everything on it. It had 3 12-volt batteries in it. So I was running the lights just hooked up to one battery. But I went and bought me some red tops. So now I need a DC converter to hook up my lights, and then I have some lights that we're going to mount underneath the cart, multicolored flashy things. So we're going to install this 36 to 12 volt DC converter, small little fuse panel, and we're going to install these lights on this golf cart today. So stick around, see how it goes. The thing we need to do is remove the seat. It's fairly easy. You just lift up on it. It's got these 2 little hooks that just sit right down in there. You just lift up on it and lift it out. Set the seat down there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the converter here like that, and then I'm going to put the fuse box probably just mount it here. That way it's easy to get to. If I want to hook up anything, I can just hook it up. It's real simple. Just pull the cover off. You run the hot wire here, ground here. Then when you want to hook up an accessory like your lights, you'll put the positive here and then the ground on this ground strips here. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to mount them there and there. So let's get started. Look up the wiring for the converter. It's a 4 wires, yellow and black. You're going to hook your yellow up to the hot side on your battery pack here, and then the black to your ground post here. That way it's 36 volts. This wire here is going to be connected to the positive side on the fuse panel, and then this wire here runs up to your ignition, and that's to cut the converter on and off with the key. When you turn the key on, the converter comes on. When you turn the key off, the converter shuts off. So we'll get started wiring these up, and then we'll go from there. As you can see, I'm using these heat shrink with the solder inside of them. They work really well. I've used them before. Now on the ground, we're going to need a ground for our fuse box. So I've cut a short piece to go to the fuse box, and then a longer piece to reach to the other side over there to go to the battery post. So just slide these 2 in there, 1 on each side. Make sure that the wire crosses in the center. You get them both ends. You see this end slide through this side on the solder, and then this wire slide through this side on the solder. Then you just take your heat gun and heat it up. The heat shrink will shrink down. The solder will melt in the center there. And then there you have it. Let it cool off for just a second. We don't need to extend the red wire because the plug is going to plug in here and the red wire only needs to travel to here. So we don't need to do anything with that. We'll probably have to snip it off a little bit. We're going to have to put an eye on it. And then we'll have to put an eye on this short end of this ground wire here to bolt, to put it to the negative side of the fuse box there. So now we'll go ahead and get these mounted in here. Like that. There's not really any holes that I can get to. Slide this out to something later. Yeah, there's nothing. Just trying to use some holes that are already in there. I didn't really want to drill any more holes. And fed the wire through a wire loom to fish it over to that side. I'm going to zip tie it along here to make it clean looking. I still have to put a piece together here for this green wire. I don't have any green wire, so I'm going to use red. And that's going to run up to the back here of our ignition switch so we can power on and off with the key. What I'm going to do is put this in a loom and feed it underneath the cart up into the back of the ignition switch. Go ahead and put an eyelet on this ground wire for the fuse box. We have our ohm meter here. Need to set it to 200. We need to figure out which one of these wires here on the back of the switch has power. When the key's on. Oh, might help if I turn it on, huh? And there it is, the white wire. So we're gonna have to connect the green wire to this white wire here because it gets power when the key switch is on. When you turn the key switch off, it doesn't show any power. The other side does. So this white wire is the one we need to connect our
Guys,
green
here's what
wire
we got. I've got everything mounted. I ran the wires for the lights back across this side, put them in a wire loom. I've got the hot wire for the lights hooked up on this side of the fuse box for the positive where the fuse is at. And then on the ground, I have it mounted to the ground bar back here. The power wire from the battery is hooked up here. And then I got the ground wire hooked up here. We ran the green wire inside this loom here. It comes along the frame. I've got it zip tied underneath. It comes up right here in the wire loom there. Goes across into the back of our switch. We've got it hooked up to the switched power on the back of the ignition switch, meaning the wire that only has power when the switch is on. This is our button for our headlights. See how it's not on right now? We insert our key, turn it to the on position, and now we have lights. Turn the lights off, and even with the lights on, you see the lights on. When you turn the switch, the lights will turn off. See? So, it's important to do this because this is a 36 volt system and you need to reduce it down to 12 volts because your headlights run off of 12 volts. And if you hook them straight up to a 36 volt system, it's gonna fry them in an instant. You could wire your hot wire here and your ground wire here and run it off of 2 batteries to get 12 volts. But what that's going to do is it's going to draw power from these 2 batteries only, and these 2 batteries will die quicker than the other 4 because you have more of a draw on them. So I just reduced, I'm running now, the way they're hooked up, all the lights are pulling power from all the batteries. I have the hot wire here, the ground wire here, they come across, and then they hook up here. This converter reduces it from 36 volts down to 12 volts, and that's why I have it ran to the fuse box here, And this fuse right here is what powers, this 10 amp fuse right here powers our headlights. So now, my wife wants me to hook up these lights here across the bottom of the cart. Just something for show. So these will be connected to this fuse here on our 12 volt block, because again, these lights run off of 12 volts, not 36 volts. So we're going to begin by connecting this here. This is the hot and the ground for the lights. Has an inline fuse. We're just going to hook the hot and the ground right here. This wire here is our button for our lights. I may have to snip it and make it a little bit longer. I'm probably going to mount it somewhere up here to where we control our lights from underneath, from here on the dash. Just take some two-sided tape, probably glue this, tape this here, run it back through, run the wire back through and down and back up here for our lights, our LED lights underneath this. So I'm gonna get started on that, and I'll be back with you in just a second. What we have here are these little LED light bars here. They're wired up to have 4 on each side. So I'm gonna slide it underneath there. I'm gonna mount 4 along here, 4 along the other side. Probably just gonna zip tie them up. Maybe use some two-sided tape on the back of these and glue them up. I don't want to drill a bunch of holes in my golf cart. So once I'm done, I'm gonna go ahead and run all of these. This wire here is where it plugs into the main power. This wire here, we have this box here that plugs into this. Then this in turn will plug into this. And then this will be your hot and your ground for the lights. So let me get all 4 of these lights on each side positioned where I wanted them, or where I want to put them, and then I'll come back and show you what I've done. Okay guys, got my lights mounted here, and then the same spots over there, there, one here, and one there. If you can see there, got my wires loomed up. I still have to trim a couple of zip ties. Got my wires ran up through here, up into the dash. Mounted my switch here. Then just hooked up the ground wire here, positive wire here, and 10 amp fuses. Fairly simple. Once you stick the lights up in there, just plug and play, really. Everything went really easily as far as the lights go. Now we just turn the switch to the on position. That should give us power to the light button. Turn the lights on, and then we'll get down here and see what we got. Yeah, you see they're switching colors now, but I have to scan the little barcode to where I can do it on my phone to set the color we want. And there you have it. Everything's tucked up out of the way, nice and neat. Lights are working. So that's going to conclude this video for the DC converter, 36 to 12 volt. Hooked up the fuse box. We'll take the cover for the fuse box
slide it over like so, and then it snaps right down on there. Got it labeled driving lights, lights up. I put the side light in, didn't have a sticker that said underneath lights. So everything's wire loomed, wires ran, everything's working properly, no smoke anywhere. So we've got this part of the golf cart done. That concludes everything on the golf cart. If you like the video, please hit the like button, please subscribe. Any comments are appreciated. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Ross Rod Shop.